Alrighty then, mic check, mic check. Welcome aboard, ladies and gents. Tonight we have a very, very special event going on here tonight. It is Mentorship Monday on a Tuesday, so of course we've got to do something different, and we have a very special guest with us here tonight. Mr. KC is going to be talking with us. I'm going to kind of be interviewing him, talking to him about his experience and one of the events that happened just recently where there was a major change from not that he was not being successful, but not going to the full potential of what AlgoBox can do. He went ahead and took my advice, got on a call with me. I encourage you guys to do a 40-day call with me every 40 days you're going through, especially in those first 120 days, but especially when you're about to go live there. We really kind of start to get you down to know right where you are, your strategies, what you're doing, your specific things. I think you're going to get a lot out of what we're going to talk about here tonight, and I'm going to start right in by showing you guys. I'm going to turn the music down here. I know if you guys in the room here, you guys are not hearing that music, but we are going to record this. So those of you who did not get to join us here tonight, that we will have this recorded later, and I will be showing some things in the video that you're going to want to go back and watch later, like the things I'm going to show you right now. So again, those of you guys who have been with us for a long time, you know what we're looking at right here on the screen. This is our Discord chat room. We've got some folks over here on the right. You'll see these over on the left. If you've never been in our Emini trade floor, that is this section over here in the left, where we've got the audio chats, and that's where we're going to be talking here tonight. If you ever want to join us on a Mentorship Monday, hop in there into the audio room on the left, and that's how we are having this conversation here. Now, over here on the right, what I'm going to show you guys is some conversations and watching the progression of one of our members here, Mr. KC. When we get into our program, if you watch our videos, you know that we can break up that first 120 days into 40, 40, 40. And when you go live, so this is KC going, he's past his first 40, mid 40, and we're in that final 40. He's gotten past that, and he's into the live session and starting to trade live. And then when I still encourage people, like if you're having questions, to go ahead and schedule that call with me. And what we want to show with Casey is like the moment he had these, what I always call the Eureka moment. Okay, so if you're struggling in your trading at any point, or if you're just like, why is everybody else putting up these big numbers, and what, like, something's different, right? If you're, I think you guys are all smart, and you're going to come to that moment where you're like, hold on, what's different, right? Just ask. Okay, so go schedule that call with me. We continue to find out exactly what you're doing. I think you guys are going to see that here with KC, but I want to show you guys some of his progression. So this isn't too bad. First of all, let me back up a second. And here in our room, what's our normal target in our room? Like, I think most people, I don't know if people really know or recognize this, but so if you type !5 trades in our room, you guys who are hanging out here, check out the public room. I'm putting this stuff in the public room so you guys will be able to see this. And if I do screenshots of stuff, I'm going to post those there in the room. So we will be able to interact here tonight, even if you are in the audio section, not on the video stuff. So what you're seeing there in the room that I just posted up is sort of our little $500 vision board. Now, people asked me before, well, this doesn't, I don't see you guys making $500. I see you guys like making $5,000 per day, and 1,000, 2,000. What's this 500 about? Like, I really don't see anybody ever hitting 500. Well, that's true. This is the minimum, right? Somebody at some point, I had to make a decision on what is going to be our minimum. What do we want the minimum target for anybody coming into our room? Our minimum targets for us is $500 per day, and that will put you at 6 figures per year, and that's usually double the US household income. So that's where I came up with the number. I could have come up with really any number right there, and I hope you guys understand that. But at a nice starting point, it's an easy divisible number, etc., etc. So this is our $500 sheet. If you haven't printed one out yet, make sure you print it out, have it there on your desk, and I usually recommend that you use it like this screenshot below, where you see the targets 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And of course, you will learn about the 6-shooter system, where you have that bonus trade at the end. And of course, you guys know that through the videos. But how do you apply that? How is it that some people are making $500 and then some people are going for, I mean, we're going to show some results from earlier today. If I just scroll up, Pip Thing crushed it. Holy shnikes. Pip Thing, did you guys see Pip Thing's results today? $14,000. Amazing work. 800 commission, 81% profitable. Profit factor is at 4.48, meaning his winners are 4.48 times the size of his losers. Huge winner there. If I were to scroll back farther, that's Pip here. How about Alex? Alex, 52.75, 93% profitable. What was his profit factor? 53. Dude, this guy just was not. He was smashing it today. Alex absolutely crushing again today. A little bit easier. Curtis did awesome today, 1350. Don't think he had much time to trade today, but he was 100% profitable. The numbers that we're putting up today, you know, here's 1700 from Shrimp Scampi, and I could probably scroll back and I would see many others. If you guys want to go back and check out the results, I always encourage you guys to see that, because that will tell you, kind of get a litmus test for where you're at. Be encouraged, and if you start to feel discouraged though, make sure you schedule that call. Let me show you here how we progress. Now remember, the baseline for us is around that $500. That if you're doing better than the 500, you're doing pretty good. If you're doing less than the 500, folks, give me a call. Okay, you guys got that? If you start to find out like you're not hitting the 500 for some reason, you're not getting consistently on average over a week, over a month, that your averages are not around that $500. If you're a little bit less, 400, 500, maybe you're starting out, that's okay. Or if you're trading micros, you know, shoot, 400 or 500 in micros, that's 5,000 or 4,000 in E-minis. So, you know, do it accordingly, but micros take a tenth of that, right? So that should be, you know, $50 if you guys should catch that ratio. But if you're struggling with it, give me a call. We're going to show you here why. So watch some progression here. I want to show you. I think this is going to make sense here in just a moment. So KC, one of our members here. So here's a day back in not too long ago, maybe a month ago or so. He was hitting, you know, pretty consistently. Here's a $640 day. You know, some $1,000 days, but somewhere around there. Casey was pretty consistent in making around, you know, 1,000 to 2,000 a day, and every once in a while, you know, you have these days around the 500 mark. So pretty average. Okay, I would say not bad. In fact, you know, he's very happy with his results. I think things are going good. But I want him to share his story, because I want you guys to watch these numbers. I'm going to scroll back here. I'm just looking at Casey's results. I'm going to go to the next page. So that's page 5. So let's get a little bit, what's the next series here? Is this newest from highest to lowest? Let's see some more results. So here's a $1,000 day, 1,080, not too bad. Here's 780, okay, not too bad. 5 trades in a day. He hit 1,300, 100% on that day. Some days he posted the full performance reports. So just start to watch this progression. We go from, you know, 500, okay, 1,000. Here's a $1,600 day. Awesome. What do we got here? Here's a $500 day. Okay, again, this is our normal. Should be, you know, he's got 8 trades there, 75% profitable. Let's see, scrolling. What do we got here? Oh no, here's a good day. Okay, here's a pretty big one, 2,000. This is about his tops. Whenever he would hit a $2,000 day, I remember, you know, watching him, and I try to, you know, recognize everybody in our room, how they're doing. I try to keep up with that. Forgive me if I don't track everybody all the time perfectly, you know, but if you guys schedule a call with me, we always get the opportunity to really sync up. Now, watch the progression here in just a moment as these things really start to shift and the numbers start to get consistently bigger. Now look, he's averaging on $2,000 days. Here's a $1,900 day. Here's a $2,100 day. Here's a $3,700 day. Here's a $1,287, right? You start to see like there's no $100 days anymore. Okay, here's $6,000 day, calling it a day on 9/16. That was 9/15. 3,440. You guys see the numbers starting to go up with Mr. KC. 5,600, 5,750. Okay, what happened to KC? Did he get hit by lightning? Did he get a bigger account? You know, people were asking like, KC, like, what are you doing? What happened? Like, what are you doing, man? And you know, you could just tell, and he really knows his stuff. He's a sharp guy. You know, we got a lot of sharp people in our room though, so it's not like, well, you know, he's all of a sudden, you know, become the smartest guy in the room. There was something that happened, and I want to encourage you guys again to that phone call thing. So I want to introduce you guys to KC. Give a little background on him. He came to us. He's been to some other places. I'm going to let him tell you guys about that, and then coming here and kind of making that change. His you know, his background and things. Let him tell you a little bit about that. Let him share with what, you know, I don't want to say anything about him personally. If he wants to share that, fantastic. But I do want to introduce you guys to KC and let him kind of tell you guys his story on how things go and how, when you get on a phone call with me, what that is and what how that works. KC, are you there, sir?
I'm here.
Welcome aboard. Well, I'm certain that your ears have been burning, and I hope it didn't embarrass you too much by going through your results. But I'm just telling you, we're all, you know, excited about watching your results as basically a new student in our room. But if you want to maybe start with kind of your background, and then when you came here to us, how long you've been with the crew and things, and start there and kind of talk us through your experience before, you know, in watching this shift and change. Because I think other people have your same scenario, and I think it's really going to fit well.
So basically, I've been trading for about 5 years. I have spent, with all my blown out accounts and everything else, I'm right around 6 figures, right about 100. It's about 20. It was like 20 something a year, basically. And my background is in IT. I ran a bunch of startups, and I was in banking for about 10 years. And then I had stroked out, and the only thing I could do is go back to consulting. So I went back to consulting. I'm in my early 50s. I know I'm cresting the top of where my value is, right? So I have to find a new career. So that's why I started learning about trading and trying to figure out a nice transition out. So, I found Vinny when I was actually using macro. I was using an indicator by macro hedge.
Oh, I forgot about that. Hold on. Okay, let's start with that. How did you find me? So was it the macro hedge videos I had out there, or what? How did you find us?
I found this.
Oh, this is about to get even better. Okay.
I found this video that says macro hedge is a scam, and I was just like,
I'm gonna pull it up for everybody. Keep talking.
This crazy guy who sounded completely nuts.
Completely nuts. Absolutely. That's the truth. So I just typed in macro hedge review, by the way. So if anybody wants to know about macro hedge, I encourage you, type in macro hedge review. The first 2 videos you're going to see are me talking about the macro hedge scam, and so this will be epic cannon fodder for later. I'll post a screenshot in the room. All right, continue on.
So he was slightly entertaining, and I figured, what the hell, I'm going to watch the rest of his video.
Why not?
And it kind of made sense. It was slightly different, and I was just like, so I listened to another one, and I talked to some of my other trading friends, and I was just like, this guy's nuts, but there's something about it, right?
He is nuts.
So I spent some time, watched a bunch of videos, and then I was just like, so I just called up, put the money down, and I figured, I got to figure this stuff out, because I can't lose $2,500 a month for the rest of my life. It's not going to work out too well.
Let me ask something on macro hedge. So had you already bought into macro hedge's program? Had you gone through there? No. Were you going to their training, or you were considering that?
No, actually, I wasn't using it. I was using an indicator that was based on macro hedge.
Okay.
That a friend of mine developed. And
okay,
I was actually working on the algo. I mean, that's...
Oh, okay. There you go.
So I was programming.
Oh, well, you couldn't have missed me then, because if you were in their house, because I was making fun of them for trying to code that algo. So, sorry. Truth told.
So I was doing that, and I saw your stuff, and I was like, wow, that's pretty interesting. And at first, I was like, I'm going to use this in my algo. But I realized I couldn't get the damn thing to work.
Good luck.
And I thought it was...
Took me a long time to figure out what we got here, my friend.
Well, it's algo assisted. I was just like, because I was using harmonic patterns. I had different types of support and resistance. Anyway, I had all this. It was almost too complex to be able to manage. But I really loved what he was doing, and I figured, what the hell, maybe I'll just master this first. And it's been great ever since. I did blow out in the very beginning. It looked too easy, so I blew out 3 or 4 $2,500 accounts before I decided to actually watch the rest of the video. So I actually
we've seen people, true confessions. Folks, if that's you, hold on, knock knock, everybody. If that's you, I'm telling you, I know it seems too easy. I know it's like, oh, I got the thing. A green goes up, red goes down, pink means down, blue means up, yellow means get ready. And, you know, if I see a green thing, I'm going up. I know it seems like that, but let Casey tell you this is important. Just go through the videos, take the time to do it, because look at his results now. He is crushing it. That $100,000 is going to disappear. I mean, what is he clipping away at $1,000 a day? You're like less than a quarter of a year, a third of a year with these. I see these $5,000 and $6,000 days that starts to chip away very, very quickly. So I love the testimony of that. To hear that, I had missed that part before, but that's awesome. Thanks for sharing that.
Well, I might not have mentioned it.
I don't think you did, being honest. I remember a lot of our conversations with folks. I don't think you did. So that's good. Love it.
It's just more money towards education. That's the way I look at it. But anyway, after I decided that I wasn't going to just coast through this thing, I actually watched all the videos, and then I watched them twice. Sometimes I watched them 3 times, and basically I got all the entries down. Somebody said, I think it was Curtis, said in the very beginning, hey, what you're going to do is find what you really, the strategies you really like. I didn't exactly understand what he meant.
That is a hard thing to understand. I want you to focus. You tell us how that worked with you, and then I'm going to hit on something about that.
Well, it didn't. I had a really hard time, but I did do a lot of replay. I did trade live. That was one awesome thing about COVID. Not that it's awesome, but
it gave us more time at home where we could. You had more time to do it, right?
Oh,
a little more free time. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. There's a lot of that right now, that people have a great opportunity. I'm telling people that right now, like, dude, we don't know how it's going to be at the end of this stuff. We're all a little bit worried about things, but if it stays this way, dude, what we're doing now, there's a huge, massive wealth transfer that can occur for anybody who is capable of taking the time to do it, puts in a little bit of the work. And I say a little bit because, like, some places with trading groups, like, I want to hit on some of the other trade groups you've been at before, because I think you've been at others besides Macro Hedge. But, like, their favorite thing to say is that, oh, you just need to study more. You just need to do more of our program. You need to dedicate more time to the process, right? And they're like, it's going to take you forever. 3 years from now, you're going to thank me for this. And I'm like, dude, if you're not thanking me within 60 days from when you start, and then really at the 120 days, really know it, and by a mid-year scenario, you really should be very comfortable with what we're doing. It will take a little bit of time, but compared to all the garbage that's out there, this system hands you 3.5 years of knowledge, of experience, puts it in your hands. You only have to carry it that last 6 months for yourself before you can become a master in this. And everybody knows the 10,000 hour rule. 10,000 hours is approximately 4 to 4.5 years, depending on how many hours per day you're putting on it. But you can gain that very, very quickly with our system. You can't get that elsewhere because the tools do all the work.
In the very beginning, actually, I wasn't trading futures. I was trading options.
That's interesting. Because Macro Hedge. Yeah, Macro Hedge is the options guys.
Well, actually, before them, I was trading complex because I was attracted to the math, right?
Gotcha. Skew. It's your favorite word, skew, right? Well, at least that's Macro Hedge's favorite word.
The bad part happened when I had some large positions in semis, and over the weekend something happened.
Oh no!
40 grand, and I decided I never wanted to have an overnight position ever again.
Yeah. That brings back nightmares of my youth, my friend. I learned the overnight thing hard way. How many nights did you, like back in the day, did you lose of sleep when you wake up in the middle of the night and you want to go check your position? You ever have those?
Oh yeah, it was like all the time. After it was like I couldn't lose, and then all of a sudden it was like 40K at once, and I just couldn't sleep anymore because I couldn't hold any positions long enough. And anyways, that's how I got into futures.
Okay.
Because I wanted to do something more of an intraday. But I tried. Yeah, I went to a lot of different schools, and anyway, this made the most sense. Also, it was easier because
what we do here is actually much easier. Like our results are way better, and honestly, it's much easier. People could have our same results, but work way harder, spend way more time crunching and drawing and sizing and putting on more risk. We have minimal risk. We don't have to hold overnight. We literally are holding minutes at a time. I have not seen, there's no easier way that I can feel at this point. I am almost, after we released AudioBox, once we're at Flowmaster AudioBox with all the other visual tools, now we're including audio components. We are so OP at this point. It's scary to me how sick and easy it is now. Do you kind of feel that way, or is it just me because I'm very familiar with the tools and I've been doing it with them, for 15 years? So are you guys feeling that, like the people here in the room?
I am. I mean,
I saw Michael D type of one there.
The audio is a huge deal.
Yeah, I feel like, I really do feel like I'm cheating. Like I literally come around and my kids will be in the background. You probably hear Mikey back there right now. I think Mikey, what are you playing? You playing some Fortnite tonight? He's playing some Fortnite over there. We'll be over here, playing around, talking about stuff, whatever. And all of a sudden I hear, I hear, I'm like, oh, hold on. I just, flip over here real quick. I'm like, okay, click. Okay, yep. Targets filled. Okay, guys, now back to, what are we doing again? It's gotten too easy now. It's scary, and especially because the VIX is so high. But that has a little bit to do with what we're doing right now, but not all. We're very consistent in what we're doing there.
I just, like, when I went to the option school, right, my instructors basically said that technical analysis is only 1/3 of the equation, right? There's no way you can make money just on a technical analysis perspective, right? It was also sentimental and fundamental. So now I literally don't even know where the market is half the time. And I don't care.
We don't care, do we?
No, not at all.
Folks who don't understand what he's just saying, what he just said was, you no longer have to care what the market is doing. Would you feel that's accurate?
Yep. Yeah.
You do not necessarily need to know. Well, if the market, like we have people like, hey, Vinny Wall Street just showed up today. He's new and kind of just hopped in our room recently, and he hasn't caught on to it. A lot of people don't when they come in, still thinking the things that, well, I need to, what's CNBC saying, and what's this and that saying, what's the, all this stuff, and all we have to know is what's the VIX, right? And all the VIX tells us is how much money we're going to make today. Higher the VIX, the more ticks, high VIX, more ticks, less VIX, less ticks, and you plan your size accordingly. But after that, we're just sitting down playing a video game. You do not need to know any of this stuff. Isn't that awesome? Vinny says he doesn't listen to people on CNBC.
Because, it used to be that I thought, because I had this perception of what it was supposed to be trading, that I had to listen to the market.
And that you had to be some super smart savant. You had to know everything going on, because that's what the gurus teach you, right? That's why you need to listen to me. That's why you need to be in my room, because you can never know it all. You need me. Pay me.
Yeah.
I hate that. I got scammed on it early in my career too. It's why we're here, why I have such a little oomph, chip on the shoulder of the turds that scammed me over early in my career, and it's we were done with all that.
So about 40 days in, I did really understand what was going on. I really did have favorites, and I knew which way. To tell you the truth, I couldn't tell what a turtle is today. Everybody puts it up, and I'm like, hey, that's great, because I just not focused on it.
That's smart though.
I just use fib dots, harmonics, and the volume.
Folks, I wish I could turn this part of the video up here for a second. This is a time where you rewind the video and listen to what this man just said. Not hearing it from me. I'm going to scroll up here and I'm going to talk about what you just said. He just was talking about a turtle thing. The reason is, people who are in the room today probably know what he's talking about. So context sensitive here. I'm going to go back and show some things we were discussing in the room today. He said, I really don't know what a turtle is. And y'all were talking about the turtle today. I really didn't know what that was, but let me ask something. Did that impact your ability to trade your strategies whatsoever today?
Nope.
No.
And I'm really happy.
Because you are live your list again. What are your bread and butter strategies that you specifically are good at, that you have chosen, that like, this is my set? Tell them to everybody again. What's your list?
Double dot is, I'm always in a double dot.
Double dot.
I use the support resistance lines. I'm not
SR lines.
I'm not making
Mind you, by the way, everybody, these are not normal SR people who are watching this. These are VL1s, VLDs, basically are volume level lines, just so you know. Okay, what else?
And I use the crosses.
And the crosses. This is what we call our Flowmaster visual. And how about does the audio? Do you use much of the Flowmaster audio along with that? So I think a Flowmaster audio is sort of a given, right? You're almost like, everybody's going to use that, right? Why would you not do it? So I'm showing a screenshot right now from earlier today. I'm going to go ahead and print this and put in the room for people who are catching up from today. But what he's saying is he didn't know what we were talking about today. We had a long discussion around, some people were asking in the room, was this one a turtle? Was that one a turtle? And I'll tell everybody, a turtle is a little bit more complex. It's a large structure between this one and this one. I'll post both of these in the room here. But he was saying, he's like, you know what? He did not have to know what these were today. Now, the people who did trade it, I'll be honest, like some of those guys were the ones hitting $5,000 today because this is a higher risk trade, but it's also a higher reward trade. And talking about it in the room, we did a lot of that. But if you're not a turtle trader, listen to me, folks. If that's not your thing, if you did not go, I spent and dedicated my time in studying a lot of the turtle trades, that does not mean that you cannot trade our system. In fact, it has nothing to do with you. And from the very first part, when he was saying his hardest thing that people come into here, when you see all of these strategies at you, I don't want to say all like, oh, Vinny's just throwing a whole bunch of stuff at you. Guys and gals, we have a baker's dozen. 13, for those of you guys don't know what that is, because I'm from Texas, so we know what that is, all right? But a baker's dozen is 13 or so. Major strategy components. And you choose from those. Do not try to do them all, folks. Everybody's heard the old, ism of jack of all trades, master of none. Do not be a jack of all trades. Do not try to trade everything. Do not think, oh, there's a J hook. Oh, there's a this. Oh, there's a wham. Oh, there's a... Pick your things that you are good at. Hit those. Smash those. And don't worry about the rest until you get to a point in your career where you get so bored because you're making so much money that you're like, I'll throw something, you're right, you know what I'm saying? Because that's when you want to start expanding out your horizon, right? Once you have mastered one, we're going to talk everything about business. And I know I had this conversation with you, and I do anybody who's talking on the phones with me. If you are going to be an Italian food restaurant owner, you are going to be really good at making lasagna, making some spaghetti, making the best meatballs and whatnot. But just because you have a griddle in the back does not mean now you need to start making pizzas. Now, although Italian restaurant probably can do some good pizzas, let me do another example. You do not need to be the best hamburger maker. You don't need to be flipping some burgers now to, your restaurant. People are going to be confused. What's coming in here? What's on my menu? What am I buying? Well, if I want to get a burger, I can get one cheaper and probably tastes better. I'll go over to McDonald's or Whataburger or wherever you're going to. My point is stick to what you're good at, and then look, you can even size. I would rather see you guys, if you want to expand your horizon, rather than trying to throw in additional strategies, let me give a tip here for everybody. Any franchise that's an Italian food restaurant, the first thing they should do, should they open up a McDonald's? Or should they open up another Italian food restaurant across town, right? This is where you start creating a franchise. You're like, well, I know how to do this really well here. I'm going to do it right over here. Build another building, do the same thing, do it. Expand what you already are good at and do it. What I mean by that is if you're trading the gold and the Russell, or you're trading the ES and the crude oil, and these are, add another monitor, for crying out loud. They're so inexpensive these days, folks. Like this whole 6-monitor grid probably cost me less than $800. Okay. Now, I mean, it didn't when I bought these, it weren't, but I'm saying if you were to do this today, these are so inexpensive. There's no reason not to do it, okay? Get the extra monitors, add the new instruments, and just do it on additional instruments. Like, expand that. Or add more time frames. Look for it on the 3s and the 5s and the 8s. Do that first, please, folks, because when you start doing everything, the only people who struggle in my program, a couple of people. The people like one of the ones today that literally, like, either you don't watch the videos because you think it's too easy, okay, and you don't actually learn the stuff that you need to. If you skip the videos, I'm telling you right now, you're not going to do well. The tools are good, but they're not that good unless you're just trading one thing. Like if you're like, I'm using Vinny's tools, I'm turning them on, and I'm only trading the headshot or the shark back, and that's it. And you're just like click, click, and you're making money. Okay, you can, right? But outside of that, if you really do want to go, make it a priority for yourself to get good at it. Learn the strategies, learn the filters before you enter, and then we'll talk about sizing as we kind of get into this stuff. But this is an important point that Casey does not. He's smart right now. He has gotten to a point where he recognizes he does not have to be tempted into all the other stuff. If he sees somebody taking a J hook trade, Okay, you don't have to trade the J hook. If somebody's trading a 2-finger salute, you know what? Is Casey being like, oh, I'm gonna trade that 2-finger? No, he's like, is it a double dot? Is it my harmonic cross? What? Sorry, which crossings? We do harmonic crosses.
No, I mean I'm using the flow master looking for reversals.
Gotcha. So off of the horizontal lines and the volume lines, great. And then the audio box, right? That's his trifecta. So somebody starts talking about this other stuff. He's like, no big deal, no big deal. I mean, he's we're all like applauding people who are doing it. We love it. We love watching our team crushing it. And there's people who are specific to 2-finger salutes, but he does not have to be a 2-finger salute player. Okay, so I want you guys to know that these numbers are not being produced because the people in our crew are trading every strategy that's coming through. Hopefully you guys got that. If everybody got that, start typing me some 1s in the room. If you're a little bit confused by that, type me some 2s, but I think we're going to see some clearing the points on that.
I do trade a J hook, but I only have it on, the algo 1s, 2s, or.
Okay, so you do also do the J hook. Fantastic. So you're very comfortable with that. And what I like to do, I'll tell people before, like I actually use the J hook as confluence for other trades. Like I won't just trade an exclusive J hook. I'm still looking for, okay, the J hook is there. Now I'm going to look for a headshot off of the J hook, knowing how far it's going to go, right? So I'll tend to do that. Or if I'm trying to get a read, and you guys have watched my advanced J hook, I really like to use the advanced J hook to see how it approaches target 1. I usually don't enter in on a J hook standard on the entry point of a J hook because really the risk for me is too big because of my size. Okay, when I'm going at 10 to 16 contracts, I really don't want to have the big risk of a J hook, right? So I'm going to work until I've got the small risk and the big reward opportunity, so that when I'm smashing that and I'm going to punch in, I'm going to hit $1,000 to $2,000 in a single trade, that I do that. Hope you guys are catching something from that. Okay, so the J hook as well, awesome. So as you narrowed your scope and you got that in, so kind of tell us from there what happened from there.
Then I started focusing on different times to trade, and I gotta thank Els. She was into gold and oil, and because of that,
she's our gold and oil. Well, I actually call that's all gold. There's in Texas at least they talk about oil is black gold. All right, so it's gold. We got black gold and gold. So you guys are the golden childs, and particularly Els. Yeah, she does a great job trading both of those. So call her the golden girl. Awesome. So what did she she influenced you to do, gold or crude or both?
Both. So
excellent. Props to Els. We need to get her on an interview sometime. We need to have her come in here and chat.
Yeah, I have my screen set up for the pre-market. My workspace is ES, crude and oil, crude and gold.
Perfect.
I usually trade crude and gold.
Okay.
So then I have another workspace I usually using during the open, and that's only trading the YM and ES.
Okay, YM and ES in the morning. Great.
I'm using YM. If I see a signal in YM, I'm going to use that to trade the ES.
Look at you. So starting to use the markets that are in confluence with one another, that are working in lockstep with one another, using them off of each other. Perfect. Excellent.
I was spending a lot of time while I was having huge success right in the open, and I was getting killed like at 11 o'clock. that was a tough time for me.
Those are two big shifts. That's good.
But I've gotten a lot better at 11, and I've been trading the afternoon a lot more now.
Mm-hmm.
But I've been trading the afternoon, the NQ.
Did it help you to understand sessions? Like, are you pretty comfortable like looking at, I just typed sessions in the room there for the breakups. And so right here is where he's showing, he had a little bit of struggle, but like this is what I've said before. There's a personality of the morning open. This whole section of the day really has a consistent personality, a little change here. I could have slivered this, for the open, like the first few minutes, which is what he's talking about. But there's going to be a consistent type of personality during this time. And then right here at 11, where he's saying, well, I really kind of struggled right here. That's because this turns, like there is a big shift that happens right here. This is our beast mode hour. We can get some of our biggest trades out of this zone. But if you're a different type of style of trader, like again, I'll tell you right now, if you start to master all this, you can sit down at your desk any time of day and you'll be able to do this. In fact, I've told you before, like about a year into our stuff, like you start becoming Neo from the Matrix, where you just see the Matrix for what it is. You can anticipate the next move, and you're just going to know ahead of time when you really start to feel your tools become part of what you're doing, and you can just accelerate what you're doing, and you'll get to that point. But if you master one section, I want to come back and say that, I mean, would you attest to the fact that you can make as much money as you need to in just, if you just mastered one session and like, we're like, well, I'm struggling at 11. Do you need to trade at 11? My usual thing that I tell people is like, well, you actually don't have to trade that. I tell people, sit down, take your 60 to 90 minutes, master that, do it, and, you know, be up and gone. What are your feelings around that?
Well, yeah, I was just doing sim and at the 11 o'clock session, but now I'm not, because it's, yeah, I got the hang of it. I basically, the huge difference was that I actually created a workspace or a set of workspaces for each session.
Oh no, that's smart.
Right? So
okay.
I have my pre-market workspace. I have my open workspace. I have
Now
my
that's an
beast mode
interesting idea.
workspace.
Okay.
Yeah, because it's different, and like if it gets too hot, right, or if it gets boring, I'll roll to the VIX, or sorry, the NQ, and I have an NQ. Yeah, I have an NQ fast and super fast. Those are the names of the workspaces. And then I have
that's great.
I have a one where it's super slow, where I'll be watching, you know, ES. I'll be watching NQ, ES, and YM, and I'll also be looking at all of them to decide what I'm going to do.
That's good. Now this is not something new, folks. Out of, like, what he's talking about here is what we call our gear shifting. So I'm showing here in the room, you know, our various gears and how we know when we're going to slow down or speed up. Now he's doing additional workspaces. Of course, my solution to that is I like to have everything up all the time, so I don't have to switch between my workspaces. So I should rewind here, share with everyone. So what's your hardware setup like? Are you a 3-screen setup? I forget. 4.
I got 2.
Oh, you're on 2.
You yell at me each time. But I did,
that's right. I did yell at you for only having 2. That's true, because you would have to have multiple workspaces if you've only got 2 screens.
I did open up. I have a 49-inch wraparound that's on its way. So
okay, so that actually kind of, and I've said this before, if you get one really big one that's 4K, technically that can serve as 4 if you are close to it and not trying to do it from the back of the room and actually use it like a TV, but if you're using like a monitor, and you can divide one of those big ones out to that. However, I usually tell people, if you're going to actually do that, the actual real measurements, especially for the people in our age category, because you and me, we're in that same age category, I go, if you're in your 20s, you can use 20-inch monitors. If you're in your 30s, you need to be 30s, 40s, and 50s, we need to be up there, okay? And a 49 is actually on the cusp. You need the actual number, folks, if you're trying to go get your hardware, is a 55-inch monitor is, by diagonal distances, if you were to divide it up and split it up into 4, those actually function as 4 27-inch monitors, which in reality, even for those of us who are up in age, as we are, that for our eyes, you really want to have something bigger. So, but if you're gonna do it, I've said people before that you can do that. So take those things into account when you build out your workspace. Look, I can lead a horse to water, can't make you drink, and everybody can tend to figure things out like Casey has. He's like, well, here's how I do it, here's how I adjust for those things that Vinny's talking about. Yes, I'm using this configuration, but what he's having to do is some little extra work with the extra additional workspaces. So he'll flip between workspaces, where, you know, for me, it might be a little bit easier because I literally I don't change anything. I come over here and I'm like, oh, it's slowing down. Let me turn my head to the left, and I'm like, I'm going to trade the 6s if I need to slow down. Or things are too slow, I'm moving over here and I'm getting faster, trading the NASDAQ and the Dow and the Russell over here on the right. So, and then crude and those type of things, I kind of ride in the middle of my screens. So just tips for people who are setting up your hardware. Excellent.
I have an AMD. Sorry about that. But
AMD actually don't, you know, I don't rag too much on that. Although if you have CPU problems, I tell people, like, you know, if you want to know what CPU, while we're talking about that, just type in !CPUs in our room. This Curtis has set this up for us to extract from which website is this? Passmark. So their top list is just a simple way to get, you know, what's the top of the list. I don't know why at 2.8. I think it's because they're doing We want single thread. I still cannot figure out why they say that a 2.8 gigahertz is faster than this 4. If somebody who's a hardware geek knows, I don't know. My highest machine that I have in my house is this one right here. This 9900. Mine's actually a K, which is a hard. No. It was a special edition. The was that SE version. So I have the special edition of that goes a little bit higher at clock speeds. But if you're not having any problems with it, you know, all power to you. And we have found, I think this week, I'm just gonna knock on wood here, I believe we have found some solutions to some of these performance items in NT8, and they are now being able to run on a machine as low as an i5, thanks to Adam Smasher, doing some tests on an i5 and doing quite well with multiple instruments on even down to an i5 now. So props on that. However, I'd like to see how that works when the VIX starts really taking off or we start to have some market volatility. I hope that still stands true. But for folks who are holding up on pricing on your hardware, stay tuned on some of that.
I am getting overclocking at 4.4 though.
Oh, very nice.
I mean, so it's not bad. It's a Threadripper. It's a really good processor.
Oh, that's a beast. Oh yeah, you got nothing to you got nothing to yeah, you got nothing to worry about there. But I would say if you're going to spend that much money, I've always told people, once you start going into the high-end AMD class stuff, you're still going to be stuck in the 4.4. Like the Intel start at 5 on the boost, right? They boost to 5 automatically. So you're just, they have faster, you know, throughput to get your, if you want to see things quickly on your screen, if that's something important, which to me it kind of is. So just keep that in mind.
I put the CPU I put a CPU monitor of all the different cores on the side. So it's right on the edge of the screen. So I'm always watching it. If I'm starting to peg out, I'll you know, because of volume, right? I'll trade workspaces.
Oh, very cool.
And what else am I doing? Yeah, but
so we kind of got your hardware set up and things. So kind of let's bring it back to, so talk to us about where you started to kind of struggle, and then you get a call with me, and let's start from there.
Okay, so I had like 14, 13 trading days where I literally didn't lose one trade. And then it was getting like on day 10 or day 11, I was starting to freak out a little bit because
like AlgoBox can't be this good, which it actually it's pretty good. I mean, with the strategies that you have, they are very high percentage shots.
Well, when I lost, it completely jacked me up. I couldn't even function. It was a horrible day because I lost and then I couldn't trade.
Yeah, tell us about that. So you were consistently kind of putting away how much on your winning days, and then what was your first kind of losing day where you broke your streak?
I was about 1,500 2K because 2K is what I need to be able to switch over to this full time.
Gotcha.
So yeah, it was horrible. It was really horrible, and then I dropped like 4, and it was.
So you had a $4,000 loss day.
Yeah.
And that was kind of a shocker, right?
Yeah. And then everything started slowing down too. So everything was good, but then the market.
By slowing down, you're talking about the VIX, right? The market in general slowed down.
August.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, August, by the way, is a tough month. So this is something about other things, and actually you can probably learn from this as well, because I don't think we talked about seasonality. But big things, like you guys know, I've said before, like, look, everybody thinks, like, oh man, I got this strategy, I trade this one thing. But the problem is you have to understand cadence, market cadence, that there are units of seasonality. There are monthly seasonalities. There are quarterly seasonalities. There are hourly seasonalities, which I showed you guys in the sessions, how they break down and whatnot. But there is a first of the month type of Friday. There is a middle of the month type of Friday. There is a contract rollover type of Friday. So when people are like, oh, Friday's my best day, that means you need to cover the myriad of all those. So in the month to month type of scenarios, I actually have it in one of my notepads like this. One of mine, it had said I don't remember what year, I had literally I was like, dude, this was like the slowest month ever. I had this gigantic page like scratched in my hand notepad of where I keep macro things, which was, dude, expect that August is going to be slow. You might want to go, this is the month to go on vacation with the fam. It's like, if everybody else is on vacation, you go take a vacation, because you're going to be sitting there spinning your wheels, you know, and this is a great time to go and enjoy a vacation. August is going to be slow in general.
Well, I switched over just to another instrument, and that was horrible also, because it's different, right? The thinner markets, right? I can't put a stop right behind the fib dot, right? Because it's like they're seeking you out, right?
That's
So you have to
tricky
have
on
a
the double
mental
dots.
stop.
Exactly. Double dots particularly. Yes. Yep. You need to know the pros and cons of your strategies, folks. And that is one of the ones on the dots. That's why I play that with the advanced stop strategy. I don't put the hard one right there, pull it back. I wait. I look for the momentum exit. You know, you guys have heard that in some of my videos, but that's true. 100%.
I also had to roll over on the NQ and the YM. I also had to stretch out my stop too, because there's a lot more wiggle in there. You know, there's a lot more range as it's going. So, you know, I was at 12. My stops for the ES, but I had to go to 25.
Oh yeah, so that's my default for everything, just in general, because I know 25 covers everything. And again, you're closing out the button. You guys know the rules on how we close out mentally and how that works. But we closed things up, and we actually were putting it at 15. Sounds like you would tighten it up to 12, which, you know, that's fine, especially on ES particularly. But yeah, that for the NQ, I mean, the NQ will, like, you know, it'll move, you know, 12 ticks in, you know, a half second, you know, Dow 2 when it gets, when the VIX starts to pick up. So you do need to adjust for those. Good. Yep. So you felt that a little bit. Now, mind you, I hope that people tend to learn these things in sim in the middle 40 days. You know, you are one of those, you know, you've been around the block, right? So I get it. Most people do that. They come here and they're like, well, I don't need to go back necessarily all the way back to doing sim stuff, but I do encourage people who are listening to this now, you know, at least dip your toe in the waters with micros first, so that you experience these things in micros. Unless, look, if you've got the capacity and capital to do so, your risk is on your own. And usually we talk about those things on our one-on-one personal convos, so we can, you know your specific circumstances. So that's why I always tell you guys, go ahead and schedule those calls, and we'll tailor things to where you are.
Well, I scheduled a call Vinny right after this, because I was, you know, I was about neutral, right? I mean, I would make 2K, make 2K, make K, make 2K, and then lose 4K, right? It just sucked. So August was a very bad month for me. And the hardest part was I was crushing it beforehand, and all of a sudden, it's like I can't win, and so it was really, it wasn't consistent. I didn't feel consistent. So I scheduled a call with Vinny, and you know, he tuned me up, right? And the first thing he did was he was talking about my day, and you know, I said, you know, I have my trade plan for the day and how I'm going to execute everything, and I write down my thoughts at the end of the day, how I performed. And he's like, take it out right now. So I said, okay. So I get it out, and he goes, write down this: you are killing yourself. And I was like, what? He goes,
it was pretty dramatic. I'm sure it was like, you're doing what? I said, get that stupid notebook, pull it out right now. I said, write this at the top. And I probably said something more effective of like, I'm a complete effing moron. I am literally killing myself. I'm wasting my time with this notebook. Something along those lines. Now that you're done with that, that's the last note you're ever going to put in that notebook. Something along those lines, yes?
It was something like that.
Because listen, folks, if you are keeping a journal and a piece of paper like this, and you're doing the stuff that these other trade rooms tell you, because they will, this is probably left over from one of your other rooms. Oh, just lost my pen there.
It is.
Some other room tells you need to ask yourself, okay, today, dear journal, today I sucked again. Dear journal, I had bananas for breakfast this morning, and I should have had Wheaties. You know, this type of stuff is useless, worthless. The only practice, ladies and gents, if you're going to do something, what I told him was essentially practice. Like, all the time you're spending doing this is completely useless, because the fact is the market shifts and changes, and your writing on your piece of paper is not going to do anything for you. You're never going to go back and read it, and you writing it down ain't going to do nothing for you. But I can tell you, your muscle memory reflexes of executing and practicing are so much. Somebody's already saying, glad to hear you say that. Never want to do it. Never heard it from other. Okay, people always talking about, oh, do a trade journal. Do a trade. You ever notice that nobody ever shows their trade journal either? Because first of all, they preach it, but they don't do it. Okay, and they just want you to buy their song, buy their song and dance, and because it's just a show. It's an entertainment from these guys. Most of these guys, they won't show you broker statements. They won't show you a third-party verified track record. They definitely won't trade in front of you. And then this insane retard that you saw after you were, doing macro hedge stuff, did it all, and you're like, this guy's crazy. But I told him, put that trade journal away. So if you have a trade journal, folks, and you write these things, like your thoughts and all that other stuff, now if it's notes from my stuff, if you're taking notes on my videos, that's fine. But if you have a trade journal that he was explaining, I'm going to understand there's a clear difference between taking notes on my stuff and knowing what you need to do to execute versus, okay, so today, like, give us an example of a trade journal entry note for us.
Oh, God, it's embarrassing.
Good. Let's get it out of your system for everybody. You're making everybody else feel better. It's going to be great.
Hey, I actually can't read it off to you right now. I actually burned it the other day.
Oh, tell us about the burning. So what did you do with your trade journal?
I need some kindling for s'mores for my kids, and
that's a good use for a journal, folks. Right there.
That was it.
He put it into a fire, folks. You can do the same.
Yeah.
Big thumbs up.
And my wife was like, "Hey, why are you gonna do that? One of the kids can use it." And I was like, "No, this is the first journal." But I would just basically review what I did right, review what I did wrong. It's like a whole soul searching thing at the end of the day, and it was a waste. You're right. I never looked at it again.
And what I told him, I asked him this. I said, "What video did I ever say that?" And I mean, I went off, did I not? Because first of all, when I'm doing an omelet thing, I first start you out and I explode you because he'll never forget that again. I mean, he's never gonna. Some of the things you get on a call with me, just beware. Like some of it's gonna be. Look, everybody's different, by the way. I kind of feel everybody out, and I knew what he needed at that moment. He needed to know that he never had to do that again. He could trust Vinny. I did. I think at some point I was like, on the top of money it says, in God we trust. I said, if you're going to be doing trading, in Vinny I trust. Just trust me. Throw that away and do what I tell you, and everything will be fine, right? And we went forward with it. And so what did I tell you as far as like replacing that habit? How do we start to change things from there?
It's just screenshots, and I actually do, but I do full. I grab my entire screen and I'm reviewing them after the fact on what I did right, what I did wrong in a trade. So I was actually doing that.
Good. Yeah, and we did. We applauded the things that are doing well. We enhanced the things that were doing well, and then we cut out the other stuff. And then spends time with your family. I was like, dude, even if you're doing that's more beneficial to you than doing this trade journal mess. Like, leave your desk at that point. Like, if you lose that day, walk away. It's like playing a video game. I think I use this analogy because I've said it to a lot of people, by the way. It's like, so you played this video game. Oh man, these five guys beat me. We didn't win. I didn't get the flag. But so look, most people are like, okay, yeah, I'm gonna go get some breakfast, whatever. That's what you do after a game. But these people that are in these Twitter turds are out there telling you, okay, now after you play your video game, man, that one guy shot me right in the face. Dear diary, when I looked out the window and that guy put that C4 right in the window when I was looking out and I didn't see it and I literally exploded and shot me in the air, that sucked. And then when that tank came over the mountain and shot me in the face, that sucked too. Oh, but you know what? I did shoot that one guy at like 1,000-yard distance. Oh, awesome. Okay, thanks, Trade Journal. I mean, it's useless. It literally will do nothing for you. But if you got back into the game, started practicing the game, the next time that happened, my point was that use your time wisely. Be efficient in what we're doing. Practice. I would rather you guys doing that. Yeah, I got killed in the spawn cap today, and it made me very angry, and I'm gonna have to go and see my psychiatrist next week. We don't need any of that.
The biggest thing Vinny helped me out with was he actually talked to me about trade management, and that was, I basically had 3 targets, 10, 15, or I think it was like 8, 13, 25, or something like that. So I was always doing 3 targets on everything, and he was like, hey, you need to have it equal twos. So you can do half off, or you have to do it in a number that you can divide by 2, right? So
Even numbers.
pairs,
Yeah,
do it
even
four.
numbers. Do it in pairs. Yeah, even numbers so you can do halves. If you can't do half on, half off add, it's a huge thing, in my opinion. And our strategies and what we do, it applies to every strategy we do, folks. This is entry strategy stuff. When you guys see that video that is entitled Maximizing Your Winners, and I only have one of them for this reason, so that it cannot be confused with any others. You watch that video to know exactly how to do everything you need to do in one video. And yes, so we talked about even numbers.
Well, I watched the video, I practiced it, and it was like double. Everything was double. It was
Everything
just
was
like
doubles.
free
Yeah,
money.
July 85 said Noah's Ark was 2x2. Hey, why not? You know, it saved everybody. Well, who was in the boat? Do it by twos. Yes, perfect. So you practiced it, you watched the video, you started doing that. Okay.
And then also, I really focused on T1, T2, right? And adding to position, but basically focusing on T1, T2.
What he's talking about there is target 1, target 2 to make your bread and butter. I've said this. We need to live on target 1 and target 2. This is what you're putting food on the table with. Consistently punch out target 1, target 2. Everything else is, dude, I don't want to say it's left to chance, because again, it sounds like we're gambling and this whole industry has that deal, but you know what I'm saying. We can try to guarantee ourselves 10 and 15 ticks. Okay, target 1 at 10, target 2 at 15, or 15 and 25 if you're taking it on a higher time frame, but those should be where you live. And I really drove this point home with him. It's like, be satisfied. Make the majority, the meat of your trade on target 1 and target 2. It's how the system is designed. I'm like, got this one spot, bam, and I'm giving you a shot that's going to fire off, and I know it's going to probably go right to here, right to here, right to here. And sometimes though it goes and goes up. We can plan for that, but we are not going to live on it, everybody. The bonus material comes from beyond target 2. Live on targets 1 and 2. This was a game changer for you. How did that apply with what you were doing? So you, from what I understand, you were kind of trying to get to those target 3s all the time, right? Kind of expecting that it's going to go really far every trade, yeah?
Yeah. I mean, I would adjust all my targets to volume lines or to areas where I thought it would be going down to.
Very common mistake. In fact, this is what other trade rooms teach. They're like, oh, look, and then I'm going to target out here to this thing. Dude, it all sounds good. It's all fluff. That's the problem why people are so misguided, because they hear those types of things. But, you know, in my videos, I do not tell you, put it out there and do that thing. Okay, I am always target 1, target 2, and then put your third one at that, you know, okay, if it's going to run, we're going to go out there to that PRZ, and I might add along the way, but I need to make some money along the way to guarantee what we call the food on the table. If you do a good job in what you're doing, your boss, rewards you with a bonus at the end of that, but it doesn't necessarily mean like you're living on your bonus. It's considered you're living above your means type of scenarios. It's very easy to understand. And remember, I kept driving home the point that it's a video game, right? You're playing this video game and you want to, right there, bam, 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 and you know it's going to go tat, tat, tat. You take your target 1, target 2, and then look, hopefully you get it. I still remember this joke. How many people you guys have been in here? Where's Curtis at? Is he still in here? Who's been with me long enough to remember any of my old videos where I'm literally like, I would be playing Battlefield while I'm trading, when we did like the long lengthy, I used to stream like all day, you know, just sitting there. So you get bored with things and you're waiting for the markets to move. This is back when the VIX was actually slow. And so you're waiting for our setups to come out. So I'm playing there, and I had this thing that I learned from this other gamer. He would always call it the 2-piece and a biscuit. He's like, 2-piece and a biscuit, 2-piece and a biscuit. So he'd get 2 people, he would kill 2 people, and every once in a while he's like, am I gonna get my biscuit? Am I gonna get my biscuit? This is the Kentucky Fried Chicken reference. If you always get the 2-piece chicken and then you get the biscuit is on the side. The biscuit is not guaranteed, folks, and you don't always get the biscuit with it, but you gotta make sure you're getting your 2-piece, because you need the protein, you need the energy, you gotta take that home. So I always think of that whole thing I used to play with 2-piece and a biscuit, but the biscuit is optional, okay? You don't need all those carbs all the time, but it is good, you know what I'm saying? You want to hit that every once in a while. So think of that, target 1, target 2, consistently. Target 1, target 2. And by the way, sizing, because we're going to come back to that. This is very key, is sizing in that target 1, target 2. Too many people think about sizing way out there on their biscuit, and you don't need to do that. So how did that change with their target 1, target 2? Like, give us kind of some specific details. What did you specifically change on your entries when you're going for target 1 and target 2? How did you kind of start to adjust there?
I just have 10, 15. Just have those 2 targets. I'm only taking a little trade in the very beginning, and then I'm adding to it. And that was one of the other things, right? If I was going to go in heavy, right, I would go in 6 contracts, 9 contracts right off the bat because I was trading 3s.
Mm-hmm.
And Vinny said, "Hey, you shouldn't be doing that. Go in, toe in the water, and then when you know there's something there, add to the position." And I made a shitload of money as soon as I started doing that. It was just changed everything.
Yeah, so what I tell people to do is the reason I tell you to start with 2,500, everybody knows I am like trying to adjust you to get on the low side with 2,500. And I always talking about minis, I'm not talking about micros, so adjust for micros, folks, just, you know the thing. So 2,500, we're looking for 5 contracts on the normal stuff that we're trading, E-minis. I'm Vinny E-mini, okay? So everybody's like, well, what about crude and gold? Look, adjust accordingly, okay? You guys are smart. But we're looking for 5 contracts. Now, why do I care about 5 contracts? What he just said, are you going to go 5 contracts on the trade? No. What you need to do, here it is, folks. If you're taking notes tonight, listen up right now. You need to work in those groups. When you get later on, you want to do the 2s thing. If you're in the 5s at the very beginning, you may not do the 2s thing. We'll talk about that later. It's a little bit more advanced, but in general, the people who are working with the people that I was talking to, with him particularly, in his size, he needed to understand the doubles, but here's what you need to know. The toe in the water thing. Does everybody understand what he means when he said toe in the water? If you guys know when I say toe in the water, what that means, type me a 1. If you're a little bit confused by that, type a 2. We're getting some 1s. Anybody with the 2s on toe in the water? That means. Okay, we got some. Good. So here's a toe in the water thing. Let's pop quiz time. Everybody type this at the same time so nobody's cheating. Do you know what is Vinny's, my personal standard position size? If I say, what is Vinny's standard? 16, 16, 16, good. Yes. Okay, awesome. Because somebody the other day were like, well, 20. And I was like, are you just guessing? Okay, so I have made it very clear. You guys know my standard position size I'm working to get is 16. So if I'm toe in the water, remember, if my standard, you got to start with what you want your standard position size to be and adjust your account size accordingly. So if I'm trading 16 contracts, let's see, you can do quick math on this. How much money do I need to trade with if I'm trading the E-minis? How much money is that? July, nailed it, 8K, immediately, 8K, right? Because $8,000 at $500 a contract, that means I only need $8,000 to trade 16 contracts, right? So everybody's like, oh, he must be using a big account. Really? Really? Compared to stocks, you have PDT rule, you need a minimum 25,000. Now I'm not just trading with 8K. Again, now it's 8K times how many instruments am I trading, right? I still want to trade with a bigger account so that I can adjust on those. And now that's my standard position size, but you want to work with that. Listen to me, folks. When you're writing things down right now, you need to work with your position size. Here it goes. If 16 is your standard, then if I say toe in the water, how many contracts is toe in the water? If my standard is 16, if I'm going to put my toe in the water, am I going to put all 16 contracts on, or what size is that? 2, you see an 8, 4, 2, 4, 2, 4. Very good. If you said 2 or 4, pat yourself on the back. Matthias, you learned this tonight, okay? My toe in the water is going to be 2 or 4 contracts, and that can be dependent on a lot of things, okay? Like maybe I'm in a small or medium timing. Maybe I'm not on a larger king, right? But if I get a headshot, I'm not going to let that pass me by, okay? I love my headshot trades, okay? But if I immediately don't hear right after the headshot, if I don't hear clack, 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 like going with me on a green headshot, then I'm going to toe in the water first, but I'll immediately can add, right? But so what is 2 and 4? That means I'm running in 2s, okay? So if my standard, when I press the button, I'm entering in 2 contracts, then if I'm toe in the water, how many times am I touching the button? If I'm getting into to 2 or 4, how many times am I clicking buy or sell? Just toe in the water. It's a little bit trickier. Spade got it. 1 or 2. Okay. If you guys don't know what we're saying here, I'm only clicking it. If I'm toe in the water, I'm clicking tat, tat, tat. Okay. It's either tat or tat tat, toe in the water, because I'm trading 2 contracts when I punch the button. Okay, so 2 would fire off. That means the first time I click it, I'm in 2. If I press it twice, I'm in 4. You got me? So if I'm gonna do 2 or 4 contracts, I am pressing buy market, sell market once or twice. Okay. If you guys don't get that, like, roll back this tape later or ask me about it later, but you should get that. So now here are the 3 dimensions that you need to have. For sure, you have got to have toe in the water, half position, almost full position. I would throw that one in there just because sometimes I go half plus a little more, but really you need 3 main divisions: toe in the water, half position, full position. Okay, you got your 3? Now there are things in between, right? You can start to now gauge from that. It's sort of like, this is really good for poker players. And if you're not a poker player, I'm not gonna say I feel bad for you, but I say, like, you have an advantage if you've ever played poker, and if you play it at any kind of higher level, you know, beyond pennies with your fam or whatever, that you know that you don't win poker by playing the ante all the time. People who, again, I think this is one of your issues. You originally started out going, I'm going to trade 2 contracts, or I'm going to trade 3 contracts, right? And it's like, I'm just going to consistently trade 3 all the time. Look, you'll be fine with that, okay? You probably might make a few hundred here, a few hundred there. You're going to be plus or minus, I'd say that your average take home is probably going to be, 300 to 500. That's your norm, okay? If you just did that consistently, just with 3. But when you want to start pushing the envelope, folks, you're not going to be a great poker player winning consistently where you're beating everybody at the table until you start to learn to size. And any poker player knows this. And what you need to know is, look, okay, you got the ante. That's like toe in the water. And maybe we add a little bit more, okay? That's still toe in the water. Like, okay, yeah, I'll play this hand. You're not folding, okay? Because you're like, well, I got some good cards here. I might want to play. You're going to tap in a little bit, but you're not going to go all in, right? Just because you've got good cards, how many good players are going to go, okay, I got pocket aces here. Oh, I got the best cards in the whole hand. I'm going all in, right? Well, that's great until the flop comes out and it's, I don't know, 5, 6, 7. Do you think you're going to win? Probably not. There's probably somebody on the table, who's got something to complete that straight on the top side or the bottom side, and as the cards come out, you know what I'm saying? And you get no face cards and you're still going, I'm all in because you got 2 aces. You're going to lose, right? You're going to lose everything. So the point is no one to hold them, no one to fold them, and no one to get big. This is a key difference between those who are making a few $100s and those who are making thousands of dollars, right? And if you don't know how to do that, you can practice this. Go watch the Maximizing Your Winners, Maximizing Winners, Vinny Emini, if you want to Google it, Vinny Emini, Maximizing Your Winners. Watch that video. You'll understand it a little bit more. But toe in the water, half position. So what's my half position size? 8. So how many times do I have to press the button to get to 8 if I'm going to move to a half position? Bingo, 4. You see how this works, folks? And this is why I tell you guys to practice, because what I would rather you do, rather than spend your time in your trade journal, is go over to your computer and literally go tat tat, tat 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 tat. I'm not joking. Just go tat, tat 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 with this mouse. What mouse is it, folks? Type in the room. What mouse should everybody in the room have? It's a Logitech G300S, Mr. July with the fast typing tonight. G300S. If you don't have it, you don't understand what's going on. We're trying to play this like a video game, and I'm telling you, there's not a better one for what we do than that right there. Left-handed or right-handed, ambidextrous, etc. The most dexterous fingers, you have the most amount of button control. It's just the mouse you need to have. Tap, 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 tap. Now, you also need to practice getting into a full position. So how many times do I have to press the button in order to get into a full position? 8 times. Think about that, ladies and gentlemen. If I am going to get into a full position, do you guys understand what that sounds like? I'm going to try to get my mouse real close to the microphone over here. And I have to get into a position. If I'm going to get in 8, I want to make sure I'm not going to click on something stupid. Oop, I just clicked on something stupid. Yeah, it just went a weird part of the video. How about I click over here? That might be safe. All right. Okay, now I'm holding my mouse up in the air like this. That's terrible clicking, but that's how many times you have to press it. Now, when it's down like this, I can do that very, very fast. Okay, but you have got to, that is actually a skill. Okay, you've got to be able to go da-da-da, like you have that. Now, at the same time, in that video, you're also going to learn that I do not always work in 2s, because people are like, well, is he always doing 2s? No. But if I'm using my standard, if I'm entering in on the ones level, okay, I'm toeing the water, I'm half position, I'm full position, but I've got to punch that button a lot. I usually have multiple chart trader windows open, which you will see in the Maximize Winners video. So if you're wondering how we do that, how I do it, I always, the key, I think I told you that day, didn't I? You're like, well, how do you do that?
I did.
You asked that question.
Yep.
Casey said, well, I don't understand how you're able to do that so fast. And I said, well, the key is watch that video and you'll see I've got 3 chart traders open for every instrument. I'm going to say that one more time. I've got 3 chart traders open for every instrument. So for my ES, if I'm going to enter in, I've got my 2s, I got my 4, and I have what I call a naked ATM entry. You'll learn that in Maximizing Winners, but I do that for my runners. If I'm going to be working into positions on the runners, I'm going to work it that way. Sometimes I work it with the other. This is where the rubber meets the road. Like everybody can enter, right? Casey, you had no problems finding the entries, right? It's all the cool parts after that divide whether or not, like, look, you know, everybody's playing with the same cards in a poker hand, okay? But why is it that there's somebody that consistently pulls out more than everybody else? It's because he knows, you know, the whole song, oh, you know, we're going to hold him, we're going to fold him. That, oh, you still there? Who is that? Is that Ron? What's up, Ron? I think you're on mute.
God, I'm so sorry.
Not on mute. No worries.
I thought I was muted.
No worries. But I heard, you know what we just heard right there? That was Ron's brain going, holy F-balls. I found the solution to life, yeah? Thanks for dropping that sound effect there for us, Ron. So Ron just recognized how awesome that was, yeah? You had the Eureka moment?
Yeah, just a little bit.
That's exciting. So look, this should be a light bulb moment for everybody because Casey had the same thing. He was like, wait, so that means if you do that, well then, do you use the same ATM? No, I don't. And you guys remember in my videos, I say I have a big and I have a small, right? I got one on my lowest time frame that I am at 10, 15. 10 and 15 for my targets. My big one, what are those set to? Pop quiz time. What is my big set to for my target 1 and target 2? Everybody should know this from the videos. What's target 1 and 2 on big? 1525, 1525, bingo. Anybody who typed 1525, congratulations, you learned it from the video. If you guys don't know that, go back and watch the videos, okay? There are things I hope that you're picking up that you know or that you don't know. 1525 on the big. So my naked one literally has no targets. And sometimes I have one with a stop, like it's just a stop with no targets, okay? Because I still want to stop. I never want to play without a stop. Do not play without a stop. So when I say the naked one, it just means there are no targets, but you've got a stop on it. Everybody follow? Type me a 1 if you get it, 2 if you don't get it. And if you did type a 2, go back, watch some videos, have the conversation with me at some point because it will change everything. Casey went here from making hundreds to making thousands. I mean, it's you're adding zeros to your pocketbook, but you know what? He's not really doing anything different. He's taking the same entries, but the way that he's playing his positions is now different. And no, it's not risk management. Everybody's like, oh, because it's risk management. Well, some people might say money management. It's close. Okay, so I'll give it's money management. But we are playing our video game in a way where we are maximizing our ammo. All right, if we're getting the opportunity to take out the other team, we get the full flag. We're going all the way on that. So we time to talk about that. So let's see what was done. So that was the ATM. We solved that, multiples and sizing. Okay, now let's go above the standard position size. So everybody followed so far. We got the toe in the water, half position, full position, no problem. But come on, guys. How many screenshots have y'all seen of me where I'm only in 16 contracts? Right? You guys will see me when we've got the big push. I am trying to get as big as I can, right? Like we're trying to, like what you want to do. We're sort of like, look, if you got the other guy on the table with poker and like he's still trying to play and you know he's bluffing, or even if you don't know, you're going to call his bluff, but you're all of a sudden, you're like, dude, you're looking at the cards on the table and you're like, there's those times when you literally know you have the best cards on the table and you're like, dude, that guy's probably got like okay, he's got a straight, but like you have a straight +1, like you got a higher straight, whatever. He ain't thinking about it. And he's like, yeah, trying to put, and you just like, dude, fine. You want all in, right? Go all in. Why not? Why just keep the pot at $10 when you could make 100? Think about that for a second. I'll tell you, there's outside of our videos. If somebody wants to go outside of our videos, 'cause you're tired of listening to Vinny, which, you know, who isn't at that point, we did cross the hour mark. I apologize. I was told him, I was like, Max, we're going to have 45 minutes here tonight. We're at an hour now. So, another video outside of stuff that we did that I found useful. It really, I don't know if I said useful, but it like reiterated for myself, hearing it from somebody else. It was entitled, it's from Chat with Traders. The episode was, if you're gonna trade, you may as well trade size. Think about that title. But I mean, you really don't even have to watch the video. The title of the video says it all. If you're gonna trade, you may as well trade size. Because what's more difficult than making $100 and making $1,000? With our system, nothing. It doesn't matter. Now, mind you, volumes, and as you said, trading a thinner market, there's limits, okay? But you guys are going to start to understand what that is, especially on the ES. I mean, hit it, right? And if you really want to get big, go to the Zs. Unlimited size there. I mean, you got thousands on either side of the trade. But yeah, don't trade with scared money. That doesn't help for sure. And we talk about a lot of that in the fear and greed section. I don't think that was your problem. We really didn't have a fear and greed thing with you. I did have to push you out of your fear section because as soon as you started to take loss, you did feel the fear, right? And I said to overcome your fear, you need confidence, okay? So when I am really confident in a position, I go from 16 contracts to going, I am really quickly, oftentimes you will see me on 24. I've noticed, like, if I'm looking at my consistency, like I'm getting to that 16, but I'm oftentimes, I'm punching the button a few more times where I'm usually at 24. I see a lot of times on my screenshots, I'm like, oh, I'm in 24 contracts, around the 20 to 24 area. I'm rarely over 30. You guys have never, you don't see many screenshots of me, you know, over 30 contracts. But what's my max? Let's pop quiz to the room. What is my personal max that I'm comfortable with? Because again, I can go, you know, it's not like, well, how much money does he got and try to figure that out. What's my max that I'm comfortable with? 40. Jerry nailed it. So 40 contracts, which is $20,000, right? Margin. But that's what I'm comfortable with. Now, have I gotten bigger than that? Yes, I have. It's like, well, Vinny's breaking his rules. That's not a rule for me. I'm telling you what I'm comfortable with, right? So was I comfortable when I had more than 40 contracts? No, I was ready to close out some of that position very quickly, right? But when I see my profit over there at $10,000, $12,000, right now I'm trying to like push it. Like go back and watch my videos where I hit 22,000 and like 33,000 in 2 days, not back to back. They were like one day and then 2 days later. And I posted broker statements, everything else. Those days I was not going small. Those were days like, dude, the market was on the move and it was ES going. And I'm like, go, like, the market's going to hand out candy, grab me a bucket. You know, why not? So let's see. Just go already blow out 25 after you went live using AlgoBox. Yeah, so we had a question there. Somebody asked, so just to clarify, when you started playing with AlgoBox, you blew out several $2,500 accounts. Rehash that one more time there, Casey.
Yeah, because it looked too easy. And I figured, hell, I'm really smart. So how hard could this be?
Yeah.
And I made some money and I was like, oh, this is really easy. And then I blew it out. And I was like, well, I'm going to try this one more time. And blew it out. And then I did a couple more times. And I was like, I'm just going to watch the rest of the videos.
I'm going to watch the videos then, like Vinny said. There you go.
Yeah. Because that was an extra 10K I didn't have to.
Yeah. But how quickly you get that back. I mean, I saw you hitting these $5,000 and $6,000 days recently. You know, look, our system, look, folks, if you get the confidence in our system, I will just tell you, the confidence matters. You're only going to get the confidence if you go and actually use it. But once you start to use it, like, you know, like you're like, oh, this is going to be one of the, oh, this is great. I got the J hook. I got a 2-finger with it. I got a double dot with a cross that just showed up. Yeah, you know, and just, you know, you can get big off of that. And especially now that we've got AudioBox. I'll tell you, so now, folks, so my personal things that have kind of changed, you guys have watched me over the years trade for the last 5 years we've been out here publicly, is, now mind you, people are going to go, oh, Vinny's only traded for 5 years. No, folks, I've traded for over 15 years now professionally, dabbled with the years before that, and I've been coding for like 25 years. So that tells you about how old I am. I'm stupid old here. So when we're trading, sorry, where was I going with that? I was talking about size, and I started to realize how old I was, and I just all of a sudden I have a senior moment. we were blown out. So blowing out your accounts at the 25. If you're gonna watch the videos, like those are going to get you where you have to be. If you're not gonna watch the videos, like there's really not much that we can help you on. But once you get to that point, you're gonna be able to execute. I think the other point that I was trying to make there was that if you are a person who's come here and you've lost hundreds of thousands, I've got people who, you know, I think the most, and don't quote me for this, I think the most that I remember is somebody telling me they lost over $300,000 before they came here to us, and now they're crushing it. I don't know if they've completely, I'm not going to talk about their name or call them out or anything, but they know who they are. They've done very well, continue to do very well, but there is really no amount of debt that cannot really be overtaken when you're trading the markets. The markets are the unlimited capacity for profits. I mean, I've never hit a six-figure day yet, but I've seen, you know, I know people who have. Like, we have people in our room who have had those six-figure days. And if you punch in, I'm telling you which ones to do, go practice the beast mode trade. How many people in here are really all about the beast mode trade at this point? I know I've seen some people that's absolutely crushing that midday beast mode hour. You get the turning point, you get the J hook, and you start going and you build the position, and then you just all right, kick back. Let's see how far this thing's going to go. Because those are going to be one of those days that for me, I know one day I'm going to hit a six-figure trade. My max trade I've ever had, $58,000 that I made. It was Brexit. The volatility was going crazy. Crushed it in a crude oil set of trades, and you know, that's my claim to fame. But I've never hit these six-figure days. But well, one day it's on my bucket list. I want to do that. But I would say build the confidence. You've got to have that confidence. Casey, originally, you know, you're going to lose your confidence if you start to lose. But what I gained him back was what gave you the confidence after our phone call? Where did that go from? You know, you had the losing stuff, and then what was the confidence changer after the call? That because it had to be confidence going in there with it.
You know, I think it was when you just said it's only a game, right? And I don't know. You know,
yeah, probably things like don't overthink it. Yeah, you got to get rid of the journal. Stop trying. It's not actually that hard. I literally reiterated what you first thought was. It actually is very easy, but you actually have to watch the videos. Yeah, like this guy, it's a video. But once you know how to play the video game, it's like my son. Look, when he first started playing Fortnite, I mean, you know, teaching a 3-year-old, and now he's 4, how to play Fortnite. I mean, you know, first he's like barely trying to, you know, he can't spin around. And look, now I watch him. He showed me yesterday how you could become Captain America, and I was like, how did he do what he just did? He's like, look, Dada. And he's like, he's like shooting these fireballs out of his hand, and like then uses them to shoot down and shoots himself up in the air. And I'm like, how'd you do that? My 4-year-old is teaching me how to do stuff after he's played it for a while. So my thing is put the trade journal away, start practicing, start playing with it. Know that it actually is as easy as it looks in our room, but you just got to actually do the rules. There was a guy in our room today that, you know, we talked about it briefly, that if you're going to you've got it installed, AlgoBox is not going to solve your problem. It's not going to do the work for you. But if you can name the strategy, like today, the guy, he couldn't name the strategy, right? And he knows who he is. He's taking a trade. He's like, hey, can I get some feedback? And the first thing is like, what's the name of that trade you're taking? He's like, I don't know. What do you think I should do? I'm like, first, can you name the strategy? My point was very simple. There's no trade there. And everybody in the room knew. It was like, what do you do? Yeah, throw your trade journal on the fire. You have to trade the actual system. Just because you have the system installed, you can do it wrong. Would you attest to that? You can do it wrong. I think some of your things you had said, cardinal sins, pulling your stops back, like knowing that a position was going to go and just letting big trades smash you rather than, who cares? If there's a little stop, like the thing, look, it breaks the dot, close it, right? Okay, we'll get the next one. You know, and what's even greater, I'll tell you right now, if you really want to maximize what you're doing, folks, get the extra monitors. If one dot breaks, guess what? There's probably a dot on the right-hand side of your screen. You just go, oh, that one didn't work. Don't try that one. Oh, that one didn't work. Oh, there's one up there. Click, click. You can just move to the next one, and you can, you know, there is no limit to what we can do, folks. So just keep that in mind. So after we had that phone call, like, what was kind of after that? Well, after you got off the phone call, like, I mean, were you like, did you already know everything, or like, what happened as you got off the phone with me? Besides, you were like, holy crap, what did I just listen to? What happened after we hung up there?
You sent me the video. I watched it.
Oh, what video? Was it the Maximizing Winners?
Maximizing.
Okay.
Yeah, and I practiced that over the weekend, and I just been on fire.
Okay, so it was a
It's
Friday.
been
We had a
really
call
great.
on a Friday. I do a lot of calls, by the way, on Fridays, folks. If I didn't catch you up during the week, you know, Friday is early in, early out, and I try to wrap things up by the end of the week. If I didn't catch people on the calls, I really do a lot of catch up. So you were a Friday. You had the weekend to practice, because I actually think it's a good thing too, because you can go everything I just talked about, practice it in market replay. So you practice it on the weekend, from a Friday, and market replay type of stuff, right?
Yep.
And then come Monday, so during the weekend, could you feel the change? Like, when you practice those things, did you see your numbers changing?
Yeah. Well, what I was really focusing on was using multiple ATMs. Right?
Perfect.
I mean, that was really
that's a huge changer. You didn't change your entry. You didn't change anything else about what you're doing. You just changed the way that you were entering, by which ones you're pressing on and adjusting your size.
Yeah, and the half on, half off.
Yes.
And that was huge.
And taking your target 1 and target 2s and being satisfied that you're, putting away some cash as you go. Put it away, take it in, right? Take some off the table.
It was huge.
That's a game changer. That's a game changer.
Huge.
And then you go into Mondays going on, folks. I'm just telling you, you want to go look at go watch that history there, like looking back from where it was, and watch. I mean, there's a massive change there, and that is what happens. That is the difference between everybody making a few hundred here. Hopefully your base is 500, like I showed you guys at the beginning of the video. But when you want to start to work to those multi-$1,000 put paydays, and that becoming consistent where you just it becomes the norm. I can say that Humphrey, who struggled for a very long time with us, starts knocking out multi-$1,000 days, and then he would start getting sad when he made less than $1,000. I remember one day he got so upset, and we're like, "Oh no, dude, you have a red day?" He's like, "No, I didn't have a red day." He's like, "What do you mean?" Well, then what happened? Like, was it a real bad day? He's like, "No, I only made $780. And so he posted the thing, and so we're all like cracking up laughing. He's like, he was mad because he had only made $780 that day. Yeah, oh, the horror, exactly. Because he didn't make $1,000 that day. Because he was like, I've got to make $1,000, otherwise. So he went from like green was good, and then 100 there, 100 there, and like had the call with him. You know what I did to him? I said 2 things. I go, first of all, narrow your scope. You're only going to trade these 2 things. Only trade those. Don't know anything else. Ignore the J hooks. Ignore the turtles. Ignore all this. You don't have to know all that stuff. Filter on the MACV. Filter on the favorable direction. Only go on those 2. Wait till you have a large timing, and then smash the button. And what does he do? He told trading only 2 types of things. Don't quote me on this. I believe he's doing headshots and PRZ crosses, something combo of that, and maybe sharkbacks. But there he goes. He's putting out $1,000, $2,000 days consistently, and he's not doing any of the other stuff, right? He's not taking the double dots that you're taking. He's not taking the 2 finger slows that somebody else is taking. He's not taking just the cross level things, which is a little more complex of having to draw out levels and whatnot. You don't have to do any of that if you don't want to, but you can still put away more than you can make from the 9 to 5. So man, awesome stuff. I think I doubled our time there. We're at 1 hour and 20 minutes here, but I think it was a time well spent. Did anybody else have any final questions for KC before we kind of wrap it up, let him get back to things? It's about 10:20 or so. Let's see if we got any questions. If anybody wants to come on the microphone, unmute yourself. I did open up the mics to everybody. If anybody wants to ask a question or get something answered quickly, what we'll do is we're going to give we're at 25. I'll give it 5 more minutes. We'll get 5 minutes for questions and stuff. Who wants to ask a question? Who wants to hear it answered tonight? See people typing here. Yeah, and there's that video. People posted the video for the maximizing winners. Okay, looks like we got thanks. Going once, going twice. Anybody wants to come on the microphone, ask me a question or KC, something we can answer within a 5-minute deal there, something you might be confused on or be directed for. If not, man, it's been a great week watching you guys absolutely smash it. We will put this video out later. Yeah, the stuff at the beginning I think was really key. If you guys missed some of the first parts, we will put that out in the video. Hopefully the recording comes through smoothly. Looks like it's doing pretty well. But that is excellent stuff. KC, my friend, thank you very much for the time. I'm certain that other people will probably, really. I had so many people asking me about the change in you. That's why I said, can we go ahead and just, because they were like, can I get that call? Can I get that call? And I'm like, wow, okay. So I was a little bit worried about what I asked for, because all of a sudden now, like, everybody at the same time all want to get on a call, and it's like, I don't know if I can. At some point we reach a level of tipping point where the scaling issues are there, but when we have opportunities like this to share that information, I think it's going to be really good. So thanks again for hanging out with us here tonight, to yourself and everybody else, and I will catch you guys on the flip side.
Thanks, Vinny, and thanks everybody.
All right, KC. Bye. For me, Pippi, Robbie, Lunchbot, Mod Squad, Curtis G, and the rest of the gang, I'm sending out that big H-Town. See ya.
In a world of scammers and shammers, there arose one demigod to wreck them all, making trading great again.